Now, I think 2022 has been a real interesting year for golf club releases. Now, in saying that, I know we can all complain about new releases only being marginally better than their predecessors. But in 2022, I feel like there was a number of products released that, well, they broke the mold a little. And what I mean by that is they were a little bit different from the norm. They were different designs, there was different concepts, and I think you could potentially call a few of them possibly innovative at least. I've got to be careful to use the innovation word, well, loosely, because I know there's always somebody going to tell me that no matter what I show you in today's video that, well, Spalding did this in 1972, or perhaps Adams released one of these in the late 80s. I'm aware that I'm never going to please everybody. Now swing, now swing, now swing. Oh my word, that was close. Right, now creativity and innovation, which is what this top 5 is all about, well, that can be found no more in what is my number 5, and that's a putter. It's from Lab Golf. It is the Mez 1 in particular, and that's really important. It is this one and only putter that I found particularly interesting. Lab Golf, quite honestly, I'd never heard of them up until 3 or 4 months ago. You may recall that Adam Scott used a putter that I could only describe as looking like a spaceship, a huge thing that was a directed force which came from this same brand and had the same principle. But this Mez 1, it's really interesting what Lab have done. We all know what sort of a face balance putter looks like when you sort of hold it in this sort of hang position. We all know what toe hang looks like. But then Lab Golf stands for lie angle balanced, and what this does, well, it lies in a totally different way, and the concept and theory behind how that face is balanced is so different. One that I'm not going to explain to you now, but if you are interested, then please go and search out my initial review or go and check out Lab Golf's website, because it's a real interesting story. But why this model? Well, because the directed force model was so big, so obscure, if you like, that potentially it wouldn't have appealed to the masses. This is much more like what we're used to in similar style design to other putters, perhaps made it more appealing to the masses. I don't know. But it's a very different putter. At this address position that I'm at now, it is so different. It adopts an automatic forward press because of the way the shaft enters into the grip. So it's a very different story. Now, I must say, the 3 putts that you've seen me demo on this screen, I missed on purpose, obviously, because of the validity of this review. Well, that would be up in smoke if I was to hold all of them. But on this one, I'm going to take my time. Now, come on, and put your money where your mouth is. Let's see what this Mez putter can actually do. Go on, go in. See? This putter works. I'm telling you. I'm as shocked as you. Now, my 4th favourite product of 2022 is in fact a driver. It's a red face driver. I need say no more. And in some ways that is an absolute piece of marketing genius from TaylorMade, because the red face, and straight away you know that's a stealth driver. Absolute brilliant. Now, whether you agree or disagree with the performance of stealth, well, that's up to you. It's like any other driver, it's got its limitations, but what I like again is the fact that there's innovation and creativity in the carbon wood face. Now, once again, this was done 20 years ago, and it's made its comeback. But this is new. At the end of the day, this is something that's going to be developed. It'll be interesting to see what happens next time around in the new models in terms of stealth and how this develops. But the mere fact that they've changed and broke the mold, it's not a titanium face anymore, the fact that this is a carbon wood face, it's a bit of excitement. The fact that it's a red face is also a talking point in many clubhouses. Many people say they don't like it, many people like it, and that's the kind of debates and issues that we should be having when we're playing golf in and around, talking about products. Those people that like to waste their money on these new things, and those people that don't. At least that's how many people would put it. But in terms of performance, I have to say it's been extremely good in my hands. I mean, that's pretty much as good as I've got as well, to be honest with you. That is bullet straight. It's performed really well. Like I said, I've heard good reports from some people about when they've tried Stealth, and I've also heard bad. I'm not necessarily talking about the performance of this club. I'm talking about the creativity and the innovation around this carbon wood face, and I'm really interested to see how this develops in the years ahead at least. So that's number 4. Let's move on. It's time for number 3. One other quick point which might be worth a mention is a lot of people thought that, let's see if we can pick that up, that's the carbon wood face, because I heard a lot of people comment when this was initially introduced that there'll be all kinds of problems and cracks appearing in carbon wood. And I can honestly say, you know, I play a lot of golf, and well, you've just hopefully seen a visual of the face. There's no marks whatsoever, let alone cracks in it. So again, don't believe everything you hear or read. Now, my third favourite product of 2022 is in fact a driving iron, and that's not something I expected to say on this channel. It's a driving iron of sorts, at least. This again is from TaylorMade, and it is the DHY, so don't forget they've got 2 styles of driving iron right now this year. They've released the new UDI and the DHY, and the major difference in my opinion being the UDI's ultimate driving iron. It's for the better player. The DHY is the driving hybrid, and it's such a different club. It is so user friendly, but maybe more importantly, it's the fact that they offered these in several lofts. So what I've got in my hand right now is the equivalent to my 5 iron. Ask me, would I rather be playing this 5 iron or the 5 iron from my bag, and it'd be this thing all day long. It launches the ball high, it's got fast ball speeds, it's a super club to have in the bag. And once again, bearing in mind this is always viewed from the viewpoint of the average golfer, then in my opinion this style of club is exactly where you want to be, at the long end of your bag. And I've decided to pick what is possibly one of the hardest par 3s yet, played off the black tees, elevated tee position at 180 to see if it's any good. Oh, the launch is incredible and the ball speed is, I mean, I've tugged it just slightly down the left hand side, but oh my word, I mean, I don't know whether you can pick up on the audio just to how good and how solid that sound is. But it's the ball flight that's so impressive, like I said, by having this extra sort of payload at the back end. The ability to move that CG back helps with launch, and as you know, at this end of the bag, that's what we all struggle with when the loft starts to decrease. We struggle to get that ball airborne. So this type of club is doing an absolutely superb job, and for me, well deserves its place in my top 5 of this year. Okay, so my second, number 2 in my top 5 is in fact, it's from Cleveland. It's the Launcher XL Highwood. Yeah, a Highwood. So for those of you who don't know, that means a cross between a hybrid and a fairway wood. It's just genius. And again, something that is so different in terms of what it does. Length of shaft is shorter, profile of head is in between hybrid and fairway wood, 18 degrees aloft. So it doesn't play as long as a 3 wood, but it plays longer than a 3 hybrid. The extra mass, again, you'll see CG at the very back, or weight at the very back, which means that ball pops up very easily. You can play it from the tee, as I have just done, or you can play it from the fairway. Quite easy to pick this thing up. I've got to say, 3 woods have been something that haven't been found in my bag for quite some time. I just think they're a real struggle to play. I don't mind them off the tee, but again, they're tough off a tight lie on the fairway. And this thing just solves all those problems. So you can get plenty of distance from the tee, same from a fairway lie. The thing is just absolute genius in my opinion. And again, this is aimed at average golfers who are struggling to do things with the traditional 3 wood, 5 wood setup that you might see in your bag, 3 wood, 5 wood driver. Try one of these things and trust me, it makes life a damn sight easier and the game a lot more enjoyable. You'll see the ball start to go up in the air, far different than you would from a 3 wood, and hopefully you'll see it firing on out there as well. So we're 5 through to 2, that means we've got 1 left. Yes, my number 1 product of 2022 is in fact a chipper. Now I can't believe I'm saying it either, because I would do anything to avoid putting a chipper in my bag, but I'm afraid this thing is just too good not to include. There's a number of reasons why this is so good in my opinion. It was in fact the shot that you've seen me introduce this whole video with, and it's fair to say I wouldn't have got closer with any other club in the bag. I've then just played 4 more shots from in and around this green, different positions, and again I'm more than happy with where those finished up, and I'd argue again I wouldn't get closer with any other club that I had the option of playing. It's so simplistic, but the innovation for me was how clever it was in its design. First of all, the way it looks. I've said this in previous videos and I'll repeat it again. The thing that was so clever about this chipper is it looks nothing like a chipper. It just looks like an ordinary iron. And why is that such a big deal? Well, because we all know of the stigma attached with putting a chipper in the bag. And what this does, it takes that stigma away. And for anybody who was slightly embarrassed about doing that but was struggling with their short game and refused to put one in, well, now you've got the perfect option. This thing does it so well in terms of then performance. It's lie angled, the way it sits, the loft is perfect to execute most type of shots. It's not going to be every type of shot, and obviously there's limitations that this thing has, but it feels really good. The wide sole makes effortless chipping, and it avoids kind of duffs that we might incur, and that's something that a lot of you golfers will empathize with. And for me, just on a personal level, I put it in the bag for a month or so and I thought, well, it'll have its days and then it'll disappear. It's never disappeared. I've had this in the bag now for possibly 4 or 5 months. I don't know how long it is, and I can't afford to drop this thing out because it's just so good. It does this every time. I'm not necessarily holing out every time, but I've holed out more times than I've ever done in the past with any kind of wedge in hand. So for me, undoubtedly, this is the most innovative product of 2022 for me. Its innovation is in its simplicity, and I just love what it offers to average golfers, and that's what this channel is all about. So that's me, top 5 products, like I said, of 2022. For the reasons that I've suggested, I'd love to know what your thoughts are, and no doubt you're already in the comments now letting me know what you think of my top 5, and hopefully provide me with what you think your favourite product of 2022 has been. But for now, I'm done. I'm going to carry on playing golf though, because what a gorgeous October day this is at Carden Park, and I'll see you all soon.